guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Walker Ford in Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? I have that car that's been making people excited to go on throttle since 1964 and a half. It's this vehicle right here. This is it. This is a 2024, redesigned of course, Mustang GT, but the cool thing about this one, this is an all new color called Yellow Splash. But before we get into this iconic pony car, let's talk about what's going on here. When you hear the term pony car, it's all because of the Mustang. Eventually, the Mustang would have some competition. Obviously, the Chevrolet Camaro and the Pontiac Firebird that came out in 1967, and then in 1970 was the Dodge Challenger. Now, over the years, a lot of the competition, they've come and they've gone, but the Mustang has stayed in the lineup since 1964 and a half. If you want to be technical, it's model year 1965. Now what's fascinating, now that we're in model year 2024, decades later, it looks like a scenario is going to play out once again. The Mustang is going to be the last pony car standing. But what I want to find out is, Dodge Challenger is dead for model year 2024. That means there's just one final year for the Chevrolet Camaro. We haven't seen Pontiac and the Firebird, unfortunately, since 2002, and Pontiac hasn't been a brand since 2009, if you could believe that. But what I want to find out is, if you're looking for that best bang for the buck pony car, also known as a muscle car today, should you go Chevrolet Camaro SS or should you go new Mustang GT? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our Yellow Splash and find out. Right off the bat, the color, much different than Grabber Yellow. Remember, Grabber Yellow made a return for a couple years? This Yellow Splash has taken its place and very, very different shade of yellow. Now at the front of the business, you're gonna get that new setup on headlight design. And I really think when you compare the new Mustang GT compared to the outgoing Camaro, the headlight housing and the technology behind it is much more in depth. You're gonna get triple LED beam headlights. I like the way they did a little bit of silver trim in there, and that's the new way that they're doing the tri-bar lighting with your daytime running lamps and with your turn signals all blended into one. Now in the lower corner, you do have a fake vent, and that's gonna be a zonk. If you want these to be functional, you gotta get the performance pack. This is not a performance pack equipped Mustang GT, but it does of course have that big old V8 underneath the hood. I like the way that it's flat black. I just wish that they would at least make it a little functional on the Mustang GT. And then you can see how they took the flat black on the lower lip around the bottom of the front fascia. Now, as we come across that low slung hood, you're gonna get that gloss black grille. Now, when you go Mustang GT, the grille is gloss black. If you go EcoBoost, it's flat black. Of course, we have that iconic badge going all the way back to the 1960s, the Ford Mustang. And I really am digging how they've created these two nostrils on both sides of the main grille to help force feed air into that dual air box intake system that they have on the latest Coyote V8. On the bottom end, same design, but they went with a flat black, and I kind of like that a little bit better because it's closer to the road. So this is gonna take a better beating than all gloss black. Now, if you look at the Chevrolet Camaro, it's been a while since they redesigned the front of the Camaro. Still has that Camaro-esque look going back to the 60s, but I really am digging the interpretation of the way they did the front grille area on the new Mustang. Now, as you rise up, one of the things that this new Mustang is gonna be a knockout about is how you could personalize it. We have these over-the-top racing stripes, and very interesting and unique compared to racing stripes of the past. If you look at my Shelby GT350R, the racing stripes go all the way down. Here they start on the nose, and you'll notice that you have some gunmetal metallic gray, and then you have some satin black, and it all slides back towards the trunk area. So this is a new way to personalize your Mustang over a Camaro, and this is just a start. Besides picking color, of course, you could go stripes, and there's different types of stripes. These are the over-the-top racing stripes. You'll notice how we have the gloss black heat extractor that's gonna help drag air from underneath the hood. The interesting thing is this looks very similar to the one on the Camaro SS. So I guess imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Now, as we come around the bend, speaking of personalization, tons and tons of different wheel options. I'm really liking this nice bright metallic silver split spoke design wheel. It kind of has a retro feel to me, going back to 1969, especially with some of the Trans Am race cars that were running back then. But this is a 19-inch wheel, and then you'll notice we have the upgraded Brembo calipers. Massive 6-piston Brembo calipers, and this is another area where you get to personalize. These are featured in Grabber Blue. There's many different colors to choose from. Let me know how you feel about the color. At first I was like, why in the hell is there Grabber Blue and yellow? I guess it does pop from behind the wheel. I personally probably would have went with black, or they have a nice gunmetal gray finish. But let me know in the comment section how you feel about those Grabber Blue calipers. Of course, you're gonna have nice large rotors because this is a Mustang GT. And remember, because this is redesigned, the new S650 platform, it's been totally revamped for model year 2024. Tires are 255 on the width, and then a 40 series sidewall. But let me know how you like the caliper and the wheel, especially with our yellow splash. Now, coming down the side, of course, just like you'll find on a Camaro, you got the SS badges on the Mustang GT. 5.0, 5.0, gotta go. Rolling in my 5.0. Vanilla Ice said it all the way back in the early 1990s. But nice to have the badge there. The over-the-top stripes, like I said, go nicely over the hood and then onto the trunk lid. Still has that great silhouette of what a Mustang is today, connecting it to the past. Now, what's interesting, just like the heat extractor, there is some people that believe that this area looks very Camaro-esque. Let me know in the comment section if you still feel that way. But the great news, because of this awesome flared fender, it really flares out towards the rear nicely. And you'll notice that when you go Brembo optional calipers, you're going Brembo all four corners. They don't go cheap and give you just blue standard calipers. I just wish that these rear wheels were a little bit wider, because there's 255s all four corners. You do have a limited slip diff, 315 gears, and then you're still gonna have the option for that performance pack if you want, guess what, a little bit more performance. Now, when we get to the back, the stripes, just like up front, they stop on the top end. They don't slide all the way down. Let me know how you feel, if you like the gray with the black. I'm digging it on the yellow. I think it kind of cuts the yellow to where it's not too in your face. You got a color matched trunk lid rear spoiler. Of course, that massive GT badge with all that history that goes with it. Speaking of history, of course, we're gonna have the tri-bar taillights. It's growing on me. This area is growing on me with the angle. Let me know if you have gotten over what this looks like at the back. Much different from the S550. And then, of course, as we go down to ground level, you're gonna have that massive rear diffuser area, all flat black, and this one has the optional performance exhaust. So you can make it louder, you can make it quieter, depending on what type of experience you're trying to have and what type of experience you want to give other people that are maybe standing around or driving around your Mustang GT. But why don't we go ahead, we compared this on the exterior to the Camaro. Let's pop the hood and see the goods on this Mustang GT. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts, no more prop rod. And when you look at what's underneath the hood, I am definitely liking more the way the engine compartment looks on the new Mustang GT compared to the outgoing Camaro SS. So smart of Ford to trim down that big surfboard style plastic cover. You got the 5.0 badge, the powered by Ford, and these are the 8 individual intake runners on that intake plenum for the Coyote V8. And then you'll notice how we now have the addition of an extra throttle body and extra air box. So dual throttle body, dual air box. what do we have? 5 liters, 486 horsepower, 418 pound-feet of torque. If you compare that to the Chevrolet Camaro has 455 horsepower, so it's lacking in horsepower a little to the new Mustang GT, but it still has 455 pound-feet of torque, so it's got a lot more torque because the Camaro uses a pushrod V8 engine with that 6.2 liter V8 compared to this is an overhead cam engine that's 5 liters. Now, this one is mated to a 10-speed automatic, but you can get a 6-speed manual still. Obviously, it's not the Tremec. If you go GT, it's the Getrag. Chevrolet Camaro still has a 10-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual as well. 0 to 60 in this car, 3.8 seconds. Quarter mile is going to go by at 12.5 seconds at 114 miles an hour. And guess what? Top speed is governed at 155 miles an hour. It weighs 3,947 pounds, so it is heavier than the Camaro. MPGs, 15 in the city, 25 on the highway. So very interesting, different take on your V8 muscle car, pony car experience between the two. But what I want to do is, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's hear this Mustang sing. All right, guys, giddy up. We're inside this 2024 Mustang GT in yellow splash with those racing stripes. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I think it's finally time. I've worked hard. I've provided for my family. I've given my kids everything that they freaking could ever want. They still complain. But I'm ready to do something for me. I'm liking this Mustang. I also like the Camaro, but I think I might be liking the Mustang more. How much is this one? Well, congratulations on providing for everybody, but now it's time to treat yourself. You're right. MSRP, the way that this one is spec'd, is right at $54,000. Let's see how it stacks up to the Camaro. To the door panels. I like what Ford has done with making the door panels look familiar, but you could tell the heightened level of materials. Soft touch throughout. I love the perforated material in the center, and then the way that they did the grooves in the actual plastic around the door handle there, it just makes it look good without it being overly complicated. White contrast stitching, nice soft material on the armrest. Door pocket is a great size to where you could get your Whopper, and if you can't make yourself happy, you could get yourself a Big Mac as well, because it's always been the Whopper versus the Big Mac, and you could put both in there. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, it continues. The soft touch, look at the way they elevated the materials, and that's something that definitely you're going to see heightened compared to the Camaro SS. You got the Mustang name there, and then this is sliding on in the biggest talking point. You get these two massive screens. I like them and I don't like them. The reason why I don't like them is because this dash is beautiful and I can't even see it because of how high the screens are. This screen is 13.9 inches, full touchscreen. All your AC controls are in the screen itself. You got heated seats, ventilated seats, 3 stages of both. And then what's really awesome, my favorite part, is this, My Mustang, because you have track apps. I could pull up auxiliary gauges. These are things you can't do in a Chevrolet Camaro SS. You got custom mode, where you could customize everything from the exhaust to the steering to the whole shabam. And then we have one of those Crayola crayon 64 box colors with the sharpener. Remember how there was that one kid in your kindergarten class that used to make you jealous? Well, now you get to make them jealous because you have all the colors of the rainbow in here for display lighting and ambient lighting. Throw it into reverse, nice large backup camera. Resolution could be a little bit more clear, and that's where the Camaro really lays the smackdown. General Motors has awesome backup cameras, and I would like to see a little bit clearer resolution. Working our way down, you have your bright red start-stop button. Of course, you have your easy-to-access Mustang button, brings you right into My Mustang mode, and then the other buttons there, wireless charging. You do have a 12-volt, and I highly recommend getting a radar detector to keep yourself out of trouble. USB-C, USB-A, a place for a pack of Starbursts. And me personally, I like cherry and strawberry. I hate lime, or excuse me, not lime, lemon and orange. I hate it so much I can't remember the freaking flavor of it. That's how much I hate it. So I'm always the one that wants the cherry and the strawberry flavored Starburst. But that's a perfect size. As you can see, we have the 10-speed automatic. If you want the fastest shifts in town, this thing is the way to go, and they did improve it for the new redesign of the Mustang. And I can attest to that. It has been improved and approved. 2 cup holders with a little bit of silver trim around there. You got an electric e-brake, soft touch material with the stitching. Open it up. You got another 12 volt, and you got a place in here for 1 Mad Ball. Remember when you were a kid and you wanted some Mad Balls and your parents just didn't understand? They're like, why don't you want a baseball? Why don't you want a softball? Why don't you want a tennis ball? Why this Mad Ball? But then you got your first Mad Ball for Christmas and you fell in love with it. You could keep your Mad Ball in there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, use the Google. It will let you know everything. Seats, this has the upgraded leather. The stitching is great, heated, ventilated. The one zonk is that we only have electric for the bottom and manual for the back, which I can never understand that, because on the Camaro, they don't do that. You get full electric. What's nice though is I could easily show you the back seat, which you are gonna have a little bit more room in the back seat of a Mustang GT compared to a Camaro SS, but it's still very tight. If you want the most room, you gotta go get yourself a Dodge Challenger, which remember, they are dead for model year 2024. But why don't you come over here? I wanna show you behind the all new flat bottom steering wheel in this Mustang GT. All right guys, come on into this Twinkie colored, yellow splash colored Mustang GT. This should be the Twinkie edition. It just makes sense. I like the way on the sill you have that Mustang sill plate, nice aluminum finish. In the pedal box, you do get an aluminum brake pedal and throttle, but I guess they ran out of aluminum that day because there's no aluminum dead pedal. That to me is a zonk. You have your seat controls. We've already talked about how they're only electric on the bottom, not electric on the back. I'm 6 feet tall. You're definitely gonna have more room in a Mustang GT than a Camaro SS. That goes without saying. What I do love is the all new steering wheel. Flat bottom, love the way they brought some of that black design, the silver, flat black on all the switch gear, and then you have the paddles to go through that 10-speed automatic transmission. When it comes to the screen, that's a 12.3 inch, and watch this is my favorite part. Right now we're in normal. You could go sport with your screen layout. You could go track. My personal favorite is gonna be Fox Body. That to me is worth the price of admission. Plus you got your different modes as well. You could change the screens, or you could change the screens by changing the modes. So these are things you can't do on your Chevrolet Camaro SS. But you know what? What's great about these cars, whether you go Mustang or you go Camaro, they're both really great for daily driving. And one of the reasons why is we got a trunk. So let's get back there and see how much usable space is in the Mustang GT. All right guys, time to get in the trunk, and this is an area where the Mustang for the last few years has laid the smackdown on the Camaro, and with this new Mustang, it continues. You open it up, you have about 15 cubic feet of space, way more than the Chevrolet Camaro. The seats do a 50-50 split full, which is really nice. And the cargo floor is very low. On the Camaro, you might be able to get 2 loaves of Wonder Bread. In here, you don't have to wonder about anything. You'll be able to get your full shopping cart from the grocery store. The one thing to point out, no more spare. So you're getting a can of Flat Fix and an electric air compressor, and that's about it. But you know what? I'm not worried about the spare right now. What I'm worried about is how this thing's gonna go on throttle. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go for a little splish and splash in this yellow splash Mustang GT. All right, guys, we are leaving Walker Ford. We're in this 2024 Mustang GT. Yellow splash is the color. And if you're ready, I'm ready. I want to take you on throttle. On throttle, here we go. Yeah. I tell you, they have done a great job revamping the tuning of the 10-speed automatic. It is such a better transmission than it has been. And remember, that's a transmission that both Chevrolet and Ford worked on together, because the last year the Camaro does have the 10-speed automatic as well. Love the screens or hate the screens. It's really easy to see the information, especially like right now I have the vehicle in track mode, so it's got the tachometer across the top, nice large graphics, really gives it a more refined experience in here, more modern experience. The materials, not only do they look good, but they feel good when you're touching them, and the steering wheel has a nice thickness to it, and I like the way that it's different from the previous gen, the S550, with it having that flat bottom. Visibility between the two, you're gonna love the Mustang a lot more. It's easier to see out of, both out the front, the sides, and the back. And then with that Ford Performance exhaust, the active exhaust, it sounds absolutely phenomenal, whether you're outside the car or inside the car. But the great thing about this Mustang GT is just how easy it is to drive and how comfortable it is to drive, even as a daily driving muscle car. You have 486 horsepower, which of course is fantastic. And then the way that you can customize everything, not only from the customized modes, but also on the interior. You could pick stitching color, seats, seatbelt color. All those different things are now choosable by you, so that you can have a unique Mustang for yourself. The Chevrolet Camaro does not have the same amount of customization with the two different vehicles, between the two different vehicles. But seeing that bulge on the hood, the racing stripes are fantastic. And then, like I said, just the materials have really been heightened inside the new Mustang. Guys, pulling away from the light, nice throttle sensitivity. And what's great is, depending on what mode you go in, it's going to adjust the steering sensitivity, throttle sensitivity, how the engine and the transmission behave with one another. What I'm gonna do is I put the shifter on M, which is for manual shift mode. I'm gonna use the paddles behind the wheel, which are a little bit larger than they were for the S550. And compared to an automatic Camaro, the paddles feel a tad larger as well. But here we go, drop it down to fourth, on throttle. Yeah! Let that V8 sing. Now remember, because the Coyote has those overhead cams, you redline at 7,500 RPM, whereas the Camaro SS redlines around 6,800 RPM, because that's the older pushrod valve technology. That's been around since the 1950s, when Chevy came out with their first small block V8. But this thing just hums. Obviously, with the color combo, you're gonna have that attention-grabbing look if you want, or you could choose a different color than yellow splash. I just really wanted to show this one because, like I said, the color is all new for model year 2024. Seats are comfortable, supportive, and you know, they don't have a lot of bolstering, but I think if you're okay with that, you're not gonna use this too much as a corner carver. I think you're gonna be just fine. Even if you do, there's still enough there to where it's gonna hold you in a little bit. I feel like the seats in the Camaro have a little bit more bolstering. But let's see how this thing accelerates and how it handles. Dropping down the gears. You got a nice large gear indicator on the screen, which is awesome. And if you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. Yeah! So really allows you to have such a nice, flexible power plant driving experience. You do have some low down torque, not as much as the Chevrolet Camaro, but it is there. Where this really starts to pull is 5,000 RPM. That's where this thing pulls like a freight train, whereas the Camaro would be running out of steam by then. But let's see how she handles. On throttle, here we go. Third gear, second gear. Even with the 255s, you're still getting some great grip. I got the limited slip diff. And you got the sound. You got the sound of that V8 engine, which is second to none. It really, really is. There's just nothing like the sound of a V8, whether you go with the Camaro or whether you go with the Mustang. And what's cool is the two of them do sound different. So that's another nice touch. But I think you are gonna find, if you drove the S550, the previous generation Mustang, you're gonna find that this new S650 has been much, much, much improved. Handling's a little bit more crisp. Real nice, look at this, here we go. Round and round and round we go. On throttle! All the way out. Nice. I'm telling you, the shifts on this 10-speed, whether you're shifting with the paddles or you're shifting with the automatic itself, the car's doing the shifting, they're Gatling gun fast, man. Very, very fast shifts. But it's not just about the straight line speed. You're also going to notice the change in the handling characteristics between this Mustang and the previous Mustang. I still think, though, that the Camaro has a leg up. As crazy as that sounds, I think the Camaro has a leg up on the Mustang when it comes to handling. But boy, oh boy, straight line acceleration is freaking phenomenal. Those Brembo brakes are rock solid, as they should be. But remember, the Camaro, even though it hadn't been redesigned in a few years, sits on that Alpha 2 chassis. It's a smaller chassis than this Mustang, and it's lighter. That's where the Mustang, remember, new Mustang, new weight, and it's not lighter, it's actually heavier than the S550. But these are things just to take into consideration, but you gotta give it to Ford because they're gonna keep this Mustang rolling, whereas the Chevrolet Camaro is dead. On throttle! Like I said, just very, very lightning fast, very smooth. Of course, you have all the safety technology in here, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, all those goodies. And you just have a piece of heritage, a piece of tradition. God, the sound. The sound, the sound, the sound. That's what I love about these cars. And if you like electric, that's cool and everything, but there's just nothing like an internal combustion engine when it comes to personality. I tell you, these Mustangs are so much fun no matter which way you option them. But we're gonna get back to Walker Ford and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another great day, another awesome on throttle day here at Walker Ford. Definitely got to thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, and Tracy for getting us access to this all-new 2024 Mustang GT in yellow splash. Let me know what you think. Are you going to be the person to buy one of those last Camaros that are sitting at dealerships right now, or are you going to go with the new Mustang GT? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. Of course, we need to give it up to the lady behind the lens. Who's that? That's Lori Rady, working that camera like the champion that she is. Show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.